Now, America was told that former Biden Special Counsel Jack Smith was a prosecutor's prosecutor. The man who investigated Trump for years, with January 6th, subverting the 2020 election, insisted that his work was always by the book.
When I took this job, I was perfectly happy to bring this case if the facts and law warranted it or not. And I've done that throughout my career, and it hasn't mattered what person's political party was to do that. That's how we went about our work, completely apolitical.
Totally. Well, now that carefully crafted image is falling apart. A bombshell report, thanks to Senator Grassley, reveals Smith's team allegedly accessed and read private messages involving Trump officials and dozens of Republican and a few Democrat lawmakers. And all this raises serious questions about prosecutorial ethics, abuse, and even constitutional issues. That was only last December that Smith swore under oath that his team did not review the content of these messages.
Did the toll records that you requested from the senators, did they include the content of the phone calls?
No.
Did the records that you requested, the toll records from the members of Congress, include the content of text messages?
No.
Here to react is Montana Senator Tim Sheehy. Senator, you were one of the lucky 44 members of Congress whose text messages were swept up in this. Now, Senator Grassley is, as I said, is responsible for getting this out there. This is how Politico described this today. Grassley's release of these materials is part of a broader effort by the Iowa Republican and other Trump allies to portray Smith as a reckless or over-aggressive prosecutor in his pursuit of criminal case against Trump during the Biden administration, which many GOP lawmakers believe were politically motivated. And so you see where Politico came at this, that this is just another political swipe at this, very, very hardworking and apolitical prosecutor.
Well, they're trying to deflate the story, just like New York Times did with our friend Graham Plattner, P. Hustle in Maine. They want to advance the story and try to deflate it ahead of time. But the truth is, Jack Smith had text messages between 40 different members of Congress spanning 2 years. And this is, of course, in parallel with Letitia James in New York. We had the Georgia prosecutions going on, where literally the legislatures were passing new laws under which they could prosecute President Trump. So whether you voted for President Trump or not, you should be appalled that we had a nationwide legal maneuvering by our Article 3 branch and our Article 2 prosecutors to imprison a president and anybody who supported that president in an attempt to change a democratically elected government. And Jack Smith is now, of course, on record apparently committing perjury, saying he did not surveil text messages when, in fact, he did.
Well, and the thing that people maybe don't realize is that the speech and debate clause actually specifically protects congressional communications. Unlike executive privilege, which is kind of read into the law, and it has been traditionally read into the law. But this is actually a constitutional provision that I think there's a reasonable argument to make was violated here.
Absolutely. And I think those privileges as part of members of Congress are there for a reason. It's so we can debate complicated, controversial issues that aren't fully flushed out yet on the floor of the House and Senate for the purposes of crafting laws for the American people, and they have a right to hear those debates. And as you said, executive privilege came later and has been, to a certain extent, implied. But the privilege of members of Congress is in the Constitution. And the fact that he lied about having those messages, and again, that rests against the background of all these other legal efforts we saw happening all over the country in an attempt to take President Trump out of power forever and anybody who supported him. And it's pretty scary to think that we have Soviet-style prosecution happening, whether it's James Comey or Jack Smith or Letitia James. Every American should be concerned that that level of weaponization was allowed to happen.
Does this not, again, raise the issue of, I would say the unconstitutionality of these special prosecutors? I mean, independent counsel, that's been debated for years. But these things always run amok because they're really not accountable to anyone. They kind of their own fiefdoms. They have their own budgets. They go to Congress every now and then to report what they've done. But this is like a fourth branch of government. But in this case, it looks like they clearly had the finger on the scale here.
And it's beyond just the special prosecutors. I think it goes to all these so-called independent agencies. The Constitution nowhere has a provision. There's no Article 4 in the Constitution for, quote-unquote, independent agencies. You're Article 1, 2, or 3, and you're accountable to the voters in some way. And this independent agency construct that we're told is kind of a product of the late 20th century deep state they're not accountable to anybody because their budgets don't account for, ultimately to Congress because they run their own budgets.
Oh, they're running interference against Trump.
Exactly right, yes.
They like to stop the Trump agenda, which is why that Supreme Court case saying that he could fire, heads of independent agencies who, do various, that's really important, overturning decades of legal precedent. Senator, we're not dropping this issue. This is a big one. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.